Hey guys, let's get more news about Lakers, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Paul George's dad makes interesting revelation about Lakers after Clippers fallout. Paul George Sr., the father of the former Los Angeles Clippers star who signed with the Philadelphia 76ers in the offseason, revealed they looked at the Los Angeles Lakers as an option. "I was looking at going next door, to the Lakers, but they already spent too much money," George Sr. said on the September 2 episode of his son's podcast. The Lakers had no cap room to have signed George in the free agency. They would have needed the Clippers' cooperation via sign-and-trade, which is impossible given their intra-city rivalry. The Golden State Warriors tried to convince the Clippers to sign and trade George to them but were rebuffed. It just showed the Clippers' intention to not send George to a Western Conference rival while ducking the second apron of the new, punitive collective bargaining agreement. George Sr. said they felt the Clippers stabbed us in the back because I thought Paul did a whole lot for the team. A superstar trio of LeBron James, Anthony Davis of George would have catapulted back the Lakers into title contention. George, a Lakers fan who grew up idolizing Kobe Bryant, was born and raised in Los Angeles County in Palmdale, California. Ultimately, the 34-year-old George opted to go to Philadelphia, which gave him what he sought, a max contract worth $212 million over 4 years. The Sixers instantly became one of the title contenders with their new big three of George with Joel Embiid, the 2023 NBA MVP, and Tyrese Maxey, last season's most improved player of the year. The Lakers have been stuck with their current flawed roster because their role players, who had player options, opted to return because of the suppressed free agency market brought by the new CBA. D'Angelo Russell, Christian Wood, Cam Reddish and Jackson Hayes all opted to pick up their player options. Then the Lakers signed their 2 rookies Bronny James and Dalton Knecht that completely filled up their 15-man roster. The Lakers' quiet offseason was not for the lack of trying. They have targeted Klay Thompson and DeMar DeRozan, but both free agents went to Dallas and Sacramento, respectively via sign-and-trade. In the end, the Lakers' lack of financial flexibility doomed their offseason. During their rookies James and Knecht's introductory press conference, Lakers Vice President of Basketball Operations Rob Pelinka explained their cautious approach in the trade market. "We're going to always be aggressive to trying to make roster upgrades, and we'll be relentless to continue to look at what we can do," Pelinka told reporters. But he also noted they are being cautious because of the new, punitive collective bargaining agreement that restricts teams who reach the first and second aprons on what they can do to build out their rosters. "If the right deal comes and we have to put in draft picks, we will," Pelinka told reporters. "We are now in the apron world. The Lakers have 2 first-round picks, 2029 and 2031, at their disposal, plus 5 second-round picks from next year's draft until 2031. Pelinka cited contending teams losing players, which is a result of the new CBA. Robert Horry warns Lakers against acquiring Luka Doncic, "You gotta take beers out of his hand." At least one former standout Los Angeles Lakers player has qualms with the idea of the storied franchise acquiring Dallas Mavericks star point guard Luka Doncic. "You got to think about this, Luka is going to be how old when his current deal expires?" Robert Horry asked. "Like 31, 32? He ain't the best defensive player now, and that's the Lakers' problem. You gotta have some athletic guys that can play some defense, and Luka, he can score with the best of them, but we also know you gotta take beers out of his hand because he ain't the one to stay in shape. He gonna be good, but he ain't gonna be what you need probably." The Ringer's Kevin O'Connor reported approximately a fortnight ago that when LeBron James' NBA career comes to an end, the Lakers will have their sights set on the Slovenian. "I've reported on this podcast and on The Ringer how they have their sights set for Luka in the future," O'Connor said of the Lakers. "We'll see if that works out. Dallas just made a finals. Dallas is looking better than ever with their supporting cast. That may not work out. But the Lakers, by not trading their future picks, clearly they're still thinking long-term at this point. They're not going all in like you might expect many teams to do with LeBron James. Doncic isn't the most agile player in the NBA, and his lack of speed, compared to some, became glaringly apparent on the defensive side of the ball in the 2024 NBA Finals. The Mavericks lost to the Boston Celtics in 5 games, and Doncic had a hard time staying in front of the likes of Jaylen Brown and Derek White on the less glamorous end of the court. The Mavericks star also appeared as if he was out of gas on the offensive end of the floor in the championship series. For the most part, he shot far worse from the free throw line and from three-point range than he did in Dallas' other 3 playoff series, and also totaled almost as many assists as turnovers. Perhaps his only truly efficient outing of the NBA Finals, both from playmaking and scoring standpoints, came when the best-of-7 series was already all but decided. With the Celtics holding a commanding 3-0 series lead, Doncic dropped 29 points on 12 of 26 shooting from the field and chipped in 5 assists while turning the ball over only once. While Doncic does have some question marks surrounding the shape that he's in, he's also one of the most talented players in the NBA, and he did a bit of everything for the Mavericks offense last season. In 70 regular season games, he averaged 33.9 points on 48.7% shooting from the field and 38.2% from three-point range on top of 9.8 assists per contest. Doncic averaged the most points and dished out the second most assists per game of any qualified player in the NBA during the 2023-24 regular season. 7-time champion warns Lakers about possibly adding Luka Doncic. Former Los Angeles Lakers champion Robert Horry is unsure about potentially adding Dallas Mavericks star Luka Doncic. Horry explained on the Big Shot Bob podcast why he doesn't think Doncic would be the best option for the Lakers. "You got to think about this, Luka is going to be how old when his current deal expires?" Robert Horry said, as transcribed by Lakers Daily's Jesse Sinkini. "Like 31, 32? He ain't the best defensive player now, and that's the Lakers' problem. You gotta have some athletic guys that can play some defense, and Luka, he can score with the best of them, but we also know you gotta take beers out of his hand because he ain't the one to stay in shape. He gonna be good, but he ain't gonna be what you need probably." There is no denying Doncic's talent. He is one of the best players in the NBA and just guided the Mavericks to their first NBA Finals appearance since 2011. However, Doncic struggles with staying in shape, and one of the reasons why the Celtics beat the Mavericks was because they attacked Doncic on that end. Horry's words on Doncic stem from The Ringer's Kevin O'Connor reporting that the Lakers will target him in free agency when the time comes. Although, O'Connor added that the Mavericks' success could sway Doncic to stick around. "I've reported on this podcast and on The Ringer how they have their sights set for Luka in the future," O'Connor said on The Ringer NBA show. "We'll see if that works out." Dallas just made a finals. Dallas is looking better than ever with their supporting cast. That may not work out. But the Lakers, by not trading their future picks, clearly they're still thinking long-term at this point. They're not going all in like you might expect many teams to do with LeBron James. It might be wishful thinking, but the Lakers want to make a winning team. Even if their current fortunes aren't great, Doncic could start a new successful era when James retires. It sounds ridiculous at the moment that the Lakers will chase Doncic, but knowing their history with adding stars, it's not too far-fetched. For the last several decades, the Lakers have added some of the NBA's very best players at the top of their game. The most recent examples are James and Anthony Davis. They signed James in free agency and then traded for Davis the following season. However, the story goes back further, although the results haven't always been pretty. They traded for Dwight Howard and Steve Nash in 2012, which didn't go well. For years before, they acquired Pau Gasol, leading to 2 titles. Other stars they have acquired over the years have been Shaquille O'Neal and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Though Doncic hasn't won the NBA's Most Valuable Player award, he has proven himself good enough to be in the discussion. And you fan? What do you think of the situation of Luka Doncic? Leave your opinion in the comments.